Hey, just wanted to ask, first of all, from you, how have you seen your play transform, obviously, from last year to this year? Last year you had a pretty significant role in this team. How have you seen your play so far develop during spring ball?
I mean, so far, it's always easier coming around a second time and doing something. And since last year is really my first year of, getting in and playing, um, and then this being, kind of like my second go around, it's been a lot easier. It seems a lot easier. And I feel like I'm not making as many mistakes as I was last year. And that, knowing where I have to be, when I have to be there, being able to predict like what the offense is doing, it's becoming a lot easier to me now than it did last year when, I was just kind of thrown out there.
Do you think that maybe without the spring ball last year, obviously due to COVID, you guys now being able to have a spring ball and being able to have more time to prep, is that, a big difference for you?
I think it is because you always just get better with practice, and the more practice you get, the better you're going to get. So last year when we didn't get that spring, and all we had was fall camp before the season started, we weren't quite at the potential that we could have been. I don't think, and with having spring ball this year, I think we're going to be able to make more strides and get better and better, and all the way up until the upcoming season.
And just one last question for me. Who have you seen step up so far in terms of the linebackers? Who has stepped up in practice or even in the scrimmages you guys have had, and obviously getting ready for the spring game? Who have you seen step up, and maybe some of the younger guys?
Definitely Taiwan Berryhill. He's stepping up pretty well. He's still a little shaky on things just because he's young, but once he understands everything that he's got to do and where he's got to be, he's going to be a pretty good linebacker. And then Alonzo Pearson, he's kind of in between. We're not really sure if he's going to play outside or inside backer because just numbers wise. But either way he has to go. I think he's gonna once he gets it down to, he's gonna make a pretty good difference for us.
Hey, just following up on that, wanted to ask you about Taiwan, and maybe his skill set a little bit. What does he bring out there for you guys on the field?
And he's got some good size to him, and he's got a lot of power. So I think being able to just make plays and just stop running backs where they are without them getting some extra yards, being able to make plays all over the field. He just brings a lot of athleticism for us. Like again, once he understands everything that he's got to do, he's gonna be a pretty good linebacker, and he's gonna be able to make a lot of plays for us.
Yeah. We've heard kind of, I guess, about some of the early enrollee freshmen, too, who are kind of standing out on the defense. For those guys, can you envision maybe the adjustment that and how difficult is it, I guess, for those guys to come in immediately in the spring and start contributing and competing?
It's got to be pretty difficult. I mean, I was never in that position when I first got here. I got sat out because I had a shoulder surgery, but I assume it's got to be pretty difficult, especially now, because a lot of them are already getting thrown in. They're getting reps with the ones and twos, and they've got to know, everything just as good as we do. So it's got to be a lot of stress for them, but them being able to, step in and do that, it kind of shows that that they are going to be able to, produce for us in the future.
We've heard the names OJ Burrows. We've heard about Jason a few times. Any of those guys stand out to you or do anything special with those early enrollees?
Yeah, when I'm not down there for one-on-ones when they go against the receivers, but we watch film on them every day, just highlights. And Jason definitely always makes a bunch of plays. OJ always makes a bunch of plays, and forgetting his name. Oh, Jacoby Bryan. He's always on that tape, and he's always making plays, having interceptions, getting PBUs. But yeah, the freshmen are really stepping up, and they've got a lot of good skill that we could use.
In your time here, do you think you've seen the talent level, just the average, I guess, however you want to quantify it, of a player? Has that increased and improved, do you think, in your time here?
I think overall, yes. Like in the past, we've had some really skilled guys, like especially at safety with Bryce Tornade and Mike Lee. Those guys were had a lot of skill, but overall, the amount of guys having higher skills, I think, has increased.
Thanks.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about Marcus Harris. What have you seen from him that's impressed you so far this spring?
I think his athleticism has been, more than what you'd expect. He's always making plays. He's real powerful. He can, break through the line pretty quickly. But really just how powerful and strong he is and the plays that he's able to make has really been impressive.
And with spring game coming up and kind of closing the book on the spring, I mean, what is there left for this team to accomplish from now until the spring game?
Every day you can always accomplish something every day. We always talk about getting 1% better every day. So it's not really anything in particular. It's just, building on and just working towards this fall and just getting adding days on top of days of just getting better 1% every day and up until the spring game. And then, take a break this summer and then fall camp, start building every day until we get to the season.
Thanks.
Hey, I was curious, what have you seen out of Nate Betts this offseason?
Nate Betts, he's moved to inside linebacker with us. I usually get a lot of reps with him, and is how quickly he's picked everything up. The first few practices he was a little iffy on run fits because he's never really had a run fit where they can adjust. But how quickly he's picking it up, and how well he's taking leadership, making calls. It's kind of difficult, getting thrown to a new position and knowing what calls to make, and you get nervous about making mistakes. But he's been able to make all the calls and checks that we need to have to be able to do that. So, his leadership and how quickly he's picked it up has really been good.
And then Kenny Logan obviously had a great season last year. Have you seen that productivity he had on the field kind of increase his leadership this spring?
Oh yeah, he's picked up right where he left off in the fall. He's making plays every day. He's got a lot of energy. He's leading us all, trying to get us all on the right track, and he's doing pretty damn well.
Sure. And then just a couple more quick ones for me. What are the qualities that you personally think make a good head coach?
Me personally, I like a really disciplined head coach. Doesn't let a lot of stuff slide. I also like a coach that motivates people, just by talking, and somebody that's strict and just. I mean, really, what I like is just coach tell you what to do, expect you to do it, and when you don't do it, he gets on you, and that's really kind of coaching that I like. It's a lot like because my whole elementary Pee Wee football years, my dad was my coach, and he was always real hard on me. So I like a lot of the characteristics that my dad had when he was coaching me.
Yeah, and then it's been a pretty crazy offseason for you guys. How would you say, the team, it looks like you guys are doing pretty well from the roster and just from what we've heard. How would you say you guys have been able to really stay together and maintain that kind of tight-knit bond, throughout the kind of uncertainty that's been going on?
I think that Coach Jones has really been keeping us together. He tells us to stick together. He always has us improve, and nobody knows what's going to go on. And he doesn't know, but he says to just keep moving, stick together, and just keep working towards our goal for this fall.
Hey, Nick, last year you got a lot of reps. What was that like on your body? Was that different getting in that much?
It was actually pretty tough on my body. So I played the first full defensive game I played was against Oklahoma State, and I actually ended up breaking my foot in that game. Luckily, it didn't require any surgery, and it was just kind of healed over time by itself. I also had some nerve issues a little bit, so I'm wearing one of those neck pads now, which is it's kind of just protective now. Just I haven't really had any issues with it, but last season was pretty tough on my body, but from the end of the season till now, I was, taking real careful care of my body and getting back to, playing full speed.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you do in the off season? Is there some things you can do that makes yourself stronger and gets ready and prepares your body for that?
I mean, I don't do anything in particular or out of the ordinary. I just stick to what our strength coaches have us doing. I had to do some shoulder rehab on my own because that's what the nerve issues were causing me issues with. So I had to do a little bit of, shoulder stuff. But other than that, I just, do what all the strength coaches tell us to do.